Hey dear community, today it's about gender and sex, woman and men. What is sex to love? Well, in my mind, basically, I think also in science, is expression of it. Meaning, in science you have the concept that the expression of love is further portrayed in genetics as development of kids, or even more so in the idea of sexual maturity and puberty by first time experiencing self-love to the degree where you get self-conscious. Singular at most times, meaning you don't really have someone often who is either polyamorous or something like it. You most of the time have monogamous people. Even in the animal realm, it's rare that animals mate with one being else than the being they have at the time of mating. That maybe has different reasons, but it's besides the point. It's eternal in feeling, meaning once you're in love, spiriQt describes it very good, you're in love and you're basically bound to that person. This is also provable in science. If you view religious science, you basically have the concept of God as eternal love. It's maybe a wrong concept, because God is supposedly all forgiving and so forth. I think that's the wrong idea. But it's eternal in feeling because this is the highest religious concept someone strives for. It's basically eternal in feeling, because that is the highest idea, the highest moral value. So sacrificial at parts. This is also provable in science, because in Harry Potter, for example, the parents do the most valuable thing in the worst situation they could do. They kill themselves. Everything else would be retarded and beyond dumb, and idiocy and devaluing of morals and blah 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 blah. Like everything already like obvious. If you devalue yourself in such a way, you're not worth anything, and besides that, existence is not worth anything, and the end of everything is better. So sacrificial at parts is, for example, in Harry Potter, a really famous book, or in Romeo and Juliet, in all the literature, which is science to a degree. If you analyze it, love to even the degree of parental love, which I would call rekani, not love, or ekani, depends. You have basically a sacrificial idea to love being portrayed. So sexuality in unison on development, that is now where I would need sexual studies on sex, but I think psychology fairly good explains this. If you view the psychology of sex, you basically have the idea that marriage works better if you work together. If you're not the enemy and fighting inside a marriage, you basically are in unison on the development of your love. And incarnate to intention is basically what love is. You incarnate yourself to the intention of the other. You view these 5 parts and you incarnate it to something valuable, morally high, transcendent, metaphysical, and without a doubt, and more worth than anything. It should never be destroyed. So gender. Well, gender is first, self-righteous sacrifice will bring the end of everything, as in always. Not just because people will bring the end of everything, also because everything will just conjure itself up to nothingness. If one's self-righteous sacrifice or sacrificial ideas for love, in love, would be permissible, we would have not a society anymore, but rather just war. And the end of everything, because everything would kill each other, and then there would just be one being left, or a couple of beings, and they would even destroy themselves. So, gender. Well, in my mind, it's feeling to self-revelation. Or gender. In my mind, it's feeling to self-revelation, meaning once you understand that the idea you have of yourself in your body is self-revealing your character traits to you, which you have in a lot of conservative ideas, as well as in gender studies. either if it's a societal construct or a construct of biology, you always have some ideas of self-revelation in the gender of a person, even if it's just a societal construct. And furthermore, men are power to become, Nietzsche, will to power, and women are power to manifest, PflaAster. And sex and gender is love to be. Because once these ideas made, no matter which genitals they have, they are that. They are being with each other in love. Till death do us part. So why is sex in almost all cases a bad idea unless an idea for eternal marriage? Well, nothing is worth more than love, I believe, and I know, and without fertility and reason, sacrifice is useless. Agricultural offering in ancient times proves this. Meaning, fertility and reason is that from love come kids, even in a scientific way speaking. Meaning, the fertility in reason to be with each other is a sacrifice already, because you sacrifice something for your kids, for the future of life, which is beyond nothingness, so it's worth more. Like, if you view nothing as worth the same as your life, then you can basically kill yourself and don't need to prove that to other people or convince people of that. And sacrifice is useless if you are not in reason of fertility, which excludes love from the sacrifice. So anything that would sacrifice anyone's love for each other, unless these people are evil, and it would not matter, is evil. And women want to be driven to the way I believe. I mean, I think so too. Driven is maybe the wrong word, but yeah. I think that it's more like I want to be moved. Okay, and I want to move you. Yes, I want to be guided by you. 100%, like, definitely. Like, men want to be moved and guided. I want to be guided when I have sex. And if I'm a man and a woman in the same body, I can have sex with myself. I don't need both. That would destroy me. If I have both feelings, that would destroy me. Then I would just be a being that couldn't have sex. So, thank you for listening. The last thing is violation to that causes suffering and soul, as and always. If you violate this, you do cause sin, eternal sin, in my mind. And therefore, destruction of essence, which will always result in hell. Thank you for listening.